Yo, so in this video, my plan is to overview how we are going to go from 200 calls a month to 400 calls a month at our agency, and what we'll do for this, what we'll build for this, and all kinds of stuff. At least that's the plan. The reason why I wanted to make a video like this is I normally don't watch much YouTube videos, but lately I've been looking at like similar business content of like people documenting their journey, what they did in the past, what they're planning to do in the future, like really raw, just brainstorming videos. And I think it hopefully is really useful for you. I think it's going to be useful for me to go back on, and hopefully also someone who can help us out with this sees this video and maybe we can do something cool. So that's the plan. How we'll go from around like 200 calls a month run rate to 400 calls a month and all this stuff. Also, before we get into it, if you run an agency yourself and you're looking to add $10,000 in their new monthly recurring revenue in 24 weeks, guaranteed, or you don't pay if you don't do this, go check out the link in bio, go check out Agent Velocity and go and book a call with me. And maybe we can help you out as well. But yeah, so right now, our agency is doing like around 200 calls a month run rate. It's like hard to see. Like we're doing like 2 days ago, I think we did 8 discovery calls a day. Yesterday we did 13 discovery calls a day. So it's like around 10 a day. And if you don't know, the agency that I'm talking about is Leevi. So this agency is not built by me originally. I did not build this. My great friend Casper built this. He is the visionary behind the agency, and I just recently joined, or like we merged agencies. So I can't claim all the success of this agency. He was in Agent Velocity, and he went from 0 to 100K a month in like 10 months, and we were consulting them. And now, like a year later from that, we joined them, or I joined them with my other business partner, and we are growing this thing together. So right now, how we're doing this, or how we're like booking around like 200 calls a month. Again, it's like it could be a little bit less as well. But from this, like our setup is that we do outbound cold email, and we have this one absolute killer ripping the cold email campaigns there. Like he's just pretty much alone handling all the cold email stuff, an absolute stud. And we are doing SDRs, so we have like cold calling SDRs. And obviously, if you know like cold email, like you probably know that if you have one killer cold email guy and that's like their whole function, they can like rip the cold email campaigns themselves. Of course, you can always improve it and you can always add more manpower to that process. But if you have someone ripping the cold email campaigns, like they're pretty good. So there's like few ways to scale beyond that, or at least like things that I look at is like you can either go, you can of course go up market, but just like adding more discovery calls to the calendar. You can either go do paid ads. So you can go do like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or Google ads, or you can do cold calling, or you can do, I don't know, those are like the main two things that I look at. Of course, you can do like a million other things, use SEO and do content and all this shit, but at least these are like two ways that I like to look at because they're like really input outputs. They're fairly predictable once those are built up. And so like when I came in, like they had already like started the SDR process, and right now I'm just responsible for it and I'm just building it up. So our decision was to go with SDRs. And the main idea is like once we have like a killer SDR team who can cold call, who can warm call, who can book a lot of meetings, like if we want to add paid ads later down the line, it's going to be easier because we can link these two up and we can, for example, run like an opt-in funnel, cold garden calls it like MDR process, market development rep or whatever. But like we can have SDRs close those leads, and it's gonna make it way easier to make those paid ad campaigns more profitable. So yeah, SDRs, what we are planning to do right now, our SDR team is 4 SDRs who have just all started a few weeks ago, or one of them has started I think a few months ago, but all the other ones have started a few weeks ago. And they're just like ramping up, learning all of this stuff. We don't really have any crazy good systems or really good SOPs for them. They're just like ripping and roughing, and we are just like trying to help them in person. They are all absolute studs. They are fucking killers, so that makes it also way easier. But yeah, SDRs is what we are planning on doing for this. Also, why I took or like why this is what I'm running and focusing on inside the agency is I have built a few like SDR teams or like cold outbound teams to like 15 and 17 people. We've done like few in B2C, we've done few in B2B, and all of them have been like really successful over the years. Like I don't think I've ever built a sales team that like that couldn't like sell really fucking well. So that's what I'm doing. Right now we have like 4 SDRs, and they're doing like on average, I think 80 dials a day. Or like, I don't know, why am I saying I think? I know they're doing like on average 80 dials a day. Some of them are doing more, some of them are doing less. And from this, like yesterday, for example, we booked 13 intro calls. Again, just booking like discovery calls or intro calls is not enough. Of course, there has to be like good numbers behind it, the show up rates, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but the show up rates, the booking rates, the conversion rates, the demo close rates, demo show up rates, all of these have to be in check also for this to work. But I'm just focusing on booking more calls, and then we have other people who focus on like closing these deals. So my plan for this is to get 7 active SDRs, 7 SDRs, plus pair them up with 1 SDRD, SDRD, to run this team. So we're going to do like teams of 5, but in the beginning we'll just do 1 team of 7. Teams of 5, multiple teams of 5, who are all managed by an SDR director. And that's the plan of doing it. That's how I've done it in the past, and it's pretty fucking cool. And right now, if you look at like the organization chart, we have like CEO, aka my friend Casper, and under the CEO there's like a bunch of different roles, but there's Chief of Growth. This is me, and under Chief of Growth there's Head of Sales, and under Head of Sales there's like the Account Executive Manager or Sales Manager, so the person who manages the closers. And then there's like the SDR directors. And I can actually pull this up. Wait, let's see. What am I doing? Why is this so hard? Here. This is what so we have the CEO, we have Chief of Growth, and of course there are other positions. So there's like the account exec team, and then we are going to do like teams like this, SDR managers or SDR directors, and 5 SDRs under them. And right now, because we're just like getting started, I'm acting as the head of sales here, so we don't have a head of sales, and I'm also acting as the SDR manager. So I'm doing like all of these jobs to make sure that I'm just able to learn the position. And then under these SDR directors, we're gonna have all of these SDRs just doing cold calling. And pretty much what these SDRs are doing, they're just reaping cold calls and warm calls, but we don't really have a good warm call system right now. So we're just ripping cold calls pretty much, and they're calling Europe, UK, US, and for every single different location we have a little bit different scripts, and their goal is just to do a cold call, and from the cold call book an intro call. This goes to the account executives, and from here we go into a demo, and from there we go into the close. Boom, 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 boom. That's the plan. And the numbers that I have like in mind for this, like this is again like just complete estimations. And I'm like trying to play around with the numbers. Again, maybe there is someone who's like a fucking absolute SDR killer team builder, you know, someone who's like way fucking better than, like I've done this a few times, but I know that I can learn a lot more. So if someone else can do this better, let me know in the comments, and I would love to learn from you, pay you for a consultation or whatever. But right now, this is my plan. Number of SDRs, 7. Number of SDRs managers, 1. I think everyone we can get to call 100 a day. Like we are already hitting this KPI with most of the people in the team. Booking rate 3%. I think like on average booking, if you are calling 100 a day, you can book 3 intros a day. Like I think this is 100% possible. Disco show up rate. This is our current disco show up rate, but I think like as the volume scales, the show up rate is gonna go down, maybe even less than 75%. Let's throw this to 70. Right now we're hitting 88, but let's throw it to 70. Half of them, this is the goal, having half of them be qualified, and then having the disco to demo show demo conversion rate fairly high on the conversions. Like again, like we have this like at really high percentage right now, and then demo show up rate being like 80% because these people have already talked to us once, so they should have a bit more trust. Demo close rate 20%, average deal size 20,000 euros. 20,000 euros, and cash collected on call 50% of that. So collecting 10%, getting them like on a 10,000 euro starting fee or starting payment. Work days per month. SDR base pay is 1,000 euros, and they're getting paid 30 euros per meeting. This doesn't take into consideration. It's actually a bit higher than this with all the bonuses and all this stuff. And then SDR manager pay 2,000 euros per base or as base, and 5 euros per meeting, and tool cost per SDR is like 200. So like these are the forecasted numbers. 462 is like the actual end outcome of this cost per month. And this leaves a little bit of room for error. So if this goes, for example, to 2, it drops like massively, as you can see, like it's like 1/3. So let's say that this goes to 2.5 and we get only like 80% on average. Like we still have like a pretty good room for error, like pretty good error margin. But I would love to keep this at like 400 at least. So like 370, 400. Like what I've learned is every single time when you make a prediction and like the estimation shows that you're going to book 500 calls a month, you're probably going to book 350, 400 once you're like dialed in. So with these numbers, this would end up being 110 demos called booked and 88 live demos, and that's 18 clients closed, which would mean 351,000 euros in revenue and 175 in cash. The team would be 20,000 to run. An average cost per meeting would be 53 euros. Again, this is a little bit of a false metric because this doesn't take into consideration like lead scraping and bonuses and shit like this. So it actually would be a little bit higher. But obviously, if you are able to hit like 50, or even if you are able to hit 100, like that's already like really fucking good. Like I'm not mad at that at all if we hit 100 per meeting. An average like customer acquisition cost would be like 1,000 euros. And again, like if we get this to like I would have zero problem getting this to like, even if this were like 2,000 or 3,000, like that would be completely fine in my eyes. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Revenue per SDR would be 50,000 and cost per SDR would be like, at this stage, like it would be around 4.5 with all the bonuses that we have. I just didn't put them in because it makes the calculation so so complex. But we want to really pay these SDRs well because it's the most important position in my opinion in the company. Like these guys are the guys who fucking run the whole team. So we want to pay them really well. And I think if you get like a really good SDR, like they should be making at least like 6,000-7,000 euros a month. So that's how we have built our bonus structures up. But yeah, that's the plan. And for a ramp up, we're gonna do like a 14-day ramp up period where we are pretty much just able to like blast a lot of applications or like new hires. And through these 14 days, like train them up, ramp them up. Even if it takes 30 days again to ramp them up, that's fine in my eyes. This is just like an optimistic number that I have in mind. But through this, we can use this as a filter, and probably like 33% of SDRs are actually gonna get hired through this. So this is gonna be like a paid probationary period. We're gonna take, for example, 10 people into the ramp up trial and like hire the best 3, best 4 from them, or hire anyone who hits the KPIs that we set for this period. But I would assume it's gonna be like 3 to 4. Again, I think SDR, like especially like a cold calling SDR, I think, and in my experience, this is a position where really the hunger and the mindset and the attitude is what matters the most. You know, like really the actual skill that you have to have for this. Of course, you can make like a massive difference with your skill. But I think in the end, SDRs, they just have to be like fucking killers. They just have to be like Terminators, and they have to be like locked in mentally, and they'll perform really well. So we are just pretty much trying to test for like their attitude and mental, and not really for the skill. Because I've trained 100 of SDRs, so I don't really have any problem training them as long as they're just a fucking killer and they just do the work. If they can do the work, I can train them. So we're just gonna run like this 2 to 3 week ramp up, filter out the people who don't have what it takes to fucking crush it, and then the people who have what it takes, we put them on base, we give them all these bonuses, we train them into killers, and that's my plan, to go from 200 calls to 400 calls a month. Again, as I said, if there's someone in the watching this video who's like a fucking SDR killer, you built like multiple SDR teams for agencies, or you just know how to run the ops, or you just have something there, I would love to hear back from you. Like hit me up on Twitter, for example, and just like hit me up and let's see what we can do. But I've done this a few times. I'm just looking to learn more. And as I also said, if you run an agency yourself and you want to add 10K a month or a 10K new monthly recurring revenue to your agency in 24 weeks, guaranteed, go also check out the link in bio and book a demo call with me, and I'll show you how it works. We'll see if it's a fit. Like not everyone naturally qualifies for that. Like we can only take home maybe like 1/3 of people who apply, but if you are qualified, we can help you out a lot. But yeah, I want to do more of these like documentation, raw thoughts videos. This is the content that I like to watch on YouTube, so that's of course what I want to do as well. And I hope you have an absolutely fantastic Saturday when you're seeing this, or maybe you're seeing this another day. Go like and subscribe to the video, whatever it might be. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.